All right, shalom, shalom, shalom. We are back for another video. I'm not going to be before you guys long. It's going to be short and sweet. We're just going to talk about how One West doctrine is really falling off, right? A lot of big wigs in One West are making videos, changing their doctrine, changing their stances on different things, different doctrines that they taught for years. So we're gonna continue in that vein and really put to bed this whole John 3:16 doctrine, that the word world in John 3:16 is talking about Israel, right? We're gonna put that to bed. So let's just get right into it. Let's go to John 3:16. And so what they do is they'll say John 3:16, that word world is connected to Isaiah 45:17, right? So we're going to look at all of that. So let's look at John 3:16. Obviously we know it, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life, right? So let's look at that word world. Cosmos, G 2889, right? So this is what they say is Israel. One West, right? And they like to use the number one biblical usage in an apt or harmonious arrangement or constitution, order, government. And I want to say they emphasize on the government. They say Israel is the government of the world. In the new kingdom, Israel be the government and all this stuff, right? Really just butchering the text, butchering eschatology, butchering the scriptures, right? So again, they base it off of Isaiah 45:17. So let's just go to the Septuagint. Let's see if this cosmos, right? Let's see if this cosmos is in Isaiah 45:17, right? So let's go to the Greek concordance, the Septuagint. So it's listed 27 times in 25 verses, right? Isaiah 3, Isaiah 3, Isaiah 3, Isaiah 13, Isaiah 40. Houston, we have a problem. It's not found in Isaiah 45:17. So that alone destroys this fallacy of a doctrine, right? You can no longer say that John 3:16 is any way, shape, or form connected to Isaiah 45:17, right? And let's go to Isaiah 45:17. So you can see this tomfoolery. But Israel shall be saved in the Lord with an everlasting salvation. Ye shall not be ashamed nor confounded, world without end. So their elders taught them that this Isaiah 45:17 connects to John 3:16. And Christ was talking to Israel in John 3:16, when he said, for God so loved the world, right? Total fallacy, right? So now let's go to Matthew 19 and 18. So let's see what word from the Greek is actually used in Isaiah 45:17. Let's go to where's it at? There we go, 1916. All right, here we go. So we're gonna go to G166, Ehonios, right? And that comes from G165, which is aeon, right? We all know what aeon is, right? Or we heard aeon. So now let's go to the Greek Septuagint again, right? And there we will find, now this one is used 414 times in 350 verses, right? So let's get straight to it. Isaiah 45:17. Let's see. Let's see if we find it in Isaiah 45:17. Oh, I'm tripping. Tripping. There we go. Isaiah 45:17. There it is. But Israel shall be saved in the Lord with an everlasting salvation. Ye shall not be ashamed nor confounded, world without end. So this word world right here is really aeon, right? G165 in the Greek, right? So there's no connection to John 3:16 at all. Okay, so that puts that to bed. So that alone destroys that whole breakdown of John 3:16, right? That by itself. But we're gonna further bury it with this right here. Just using the blue letter. We all use the, I don't care what anybody say. We all use the blue letter. We all use Strong's. You know, we use this as a source to prove our points, to defend our doctrine, right? So let's not play that we don't use Strong's, we don't use blue letter as an authoritative source, right? I don't care what nobody in the community speaks fluent Hebrew that I've come across that can really get into the language and defend how we use the blue letter, right? So let's get that out the way, because once I bring this forward, and I got this, shout out to IOCK for bringing this forward, right? And as soon as he brought it forward, I was watching the video live when he brought it forward. And as soon as he brought it forward, now all of a sudden we discredit Strong's. Now we discredit the blue letter. And it's like, that's so disingenuous, right? It's ridiculous, right? So let's get to it. So let's go to Cosmos, right? Now, as we all know, the outline of biblical usage, right? Now, when we defend our doctrine, when we're proving our point in scripture, right? When we pull the blue letter, we can't just arbitrarily use any one of these that we feel fit our doctrine or fit the argument that we're trying to use for a particular verse. We can't just pick any one of these, right? Each one of these biblical usage, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7, 1, 8, 8, 1. They are all correlated to specific passages that this word is used, right? So for instance, what we're using is Cosmos, G2889. These are the biblical usage that word is used in. And each one of these biblical usage have the corresponding scripture that is used in. So if the scripture that I'm using to defend my doctrine, right, to defend my stance, uses the circle of the earth, right, I can't then use an apt or harmonious arrangement of constitution, order, or government. I can't use that. That's not how it works, right? So let's prove this, right? So let's go to the Thayer's Greek Lexicon. And I'm almost done, right? So again, 1 West says that the biblical usage 1 is what's used in John 3:16. That's false, because we see 1 in Greek writings from Homer down in an apt or harmonious arrangement of constitution, order. So the biblical usage 1 is actually not even found in the Bible. There's no corresponding scripture for biblical usage 1. So again, that's strike 2, right? I mean, that alone kills that breakdown. But let's see where John 3:16 is in this biblical usage, right? We have to go all the way down to 5. The inhabitants of the world, particularly the inhabitants of the earth, men, the human race, right? Which is everybody's breakdown for John 3:16. It means the whole world, everybody, the human race, not a specific group of people, right? John 3:16 is right here. So we can't use biblical usage 1 for John 3:16 when the Thayer's Greek lexicon says the context and the usage for cosmos in John 3:16 is the inhabitants of the world, right? That's a headshot, right? So since people are changing their doctrine, hopefully they can change their breakdown for John 3:16, right? And really bring forth the truth, everybody knows Truth Unedited. He's doing a powerful series on the Hebrew Israelites, and he said something so poignant. He said One West wasn't divine. It was orchestrated through man. And I wholeheartedly believe that, because the One West doctrine is so riddled with fallacy and with just misrepresentation of the text. It's crazy. And it's crazy because back then they didn't have the blue letter, right? They didn't have internet. They didn't have the tools that we have now to really cross-check, right, these breakdowns. But we do today now. So why are we not going back and really dissecting these breakdowns, really dissecting these doctrines, and really scrutinizing it, and really, if we're about truth, right? Cause either we're about truth or we're not. There's no middle ground, right? But yeah, like I said, One West is falling off bad. So many breakups. We got people changing their doctrines that they've been pushing for years, right? And I praise the Most High that they're willing to come forward and to admit that we had this wrong. Cool, but now let's get it all right. Let's get it all squared away, right? So with that, y'all be blessed. Shalom.